All right, we're pleased to be joined by none other than Ottawa Senators legend and future Hall of Famer Daniel Alfredsson. Thanks very much, Daniel, for taking the time to do this today.
Well, thanks for having me, guys.
So let's just start. Give us your overall thoughts on the NHL season. What, if anything, has surprised you thus far?
Uh, I think I've enjoyed mostly the Canadian division, watching the Canadian teams play over and over and over. I think for us living in Canada, I think it's been great. Seeing Vancouver, Edmonton, and then Calgary a lot more than we usually do. So that's been fun. I think the season started a little slow. The quality wasn't great. Not enough preparation for teams to get ready, I think. And, the quality of hockey is getting better and better.
Hey, Daniel, I just wanted to ask, when you got that call from Team Sweden, when all the stuff went down with the coach's positive tests, and you thought that you were going to be stepping into that role, unfortunately, you weren't able to because of quarantine and such. But when you got that call, what was the process? Like, how was it? Panic mode to figure out these players and study everyone, or what was it like?
Well, the call was kind of innocent to start off. The Swedish Hockey Federation, they were sitting in meetings in Sweden and just going through their options. They were probably more in panic mode, realizing we don't really have much of a coaching staff left anymore. What are we going to do? So they wanted to reach out and see, who do we know in Canada that might not have to quarantine, and what's our connections. So that's what the first call to me was about. Do I know any Swedish ex-players or coaches that could step in? I don't think they thought I would do it, or I didn't think about it either. So we kind of reconnected the day after, and then came up with the names we had and talked about it. And then I kind of just mentioned to like if it's in this type of situation, I could consider going. What do you guys think about that? And that's kind of how it started, and the process got going. And they kind of found out, what do I need to do in terms of testing, getting ready, and starting that process. And we knew that we didn't have a ton of time scouting players and whatnot, but we knew there was enough times, and there were still managers and some staff that knew the other players pretty good. So I wasn't too worried about that, if that would have been the case.
What are your thoughts on the current Sens roster and how they've been playing?
I got to be honest, I've watched a bit. I haven't watched a ton. If I'm home and our own kids here have no activities and the game's on, I'll watch. So I can't give you an expertise view, but I like what I'm seeing more and more, especially from some of the young guys. I think Josh Norris is playing really well. Stützle is only going to get better and better. I think he has exceptional upside skills, so he's going to be a player to watch going forward. And they work hard. They really do. They give teams problems. If there's one thing I think they can improve the most, is probably what I see, defensive zone coverage. It's a little too passive for my liking, but overall, it's they're a team that are getting better.
We've seen quite a few players, prominent players, benched by their respective coaches this year. Players like Line and William Nylander. Do you think this generation of players respond well to that type of discipline and coaching?
Well, everybody wants to be on the ice as much as possible. That's no question. And I think it's very individual how you respond to different, forms of discipline. I think sometimes there has to be a message sent. There's no question. It's all individual circumstances and what warrants what. But if you're not used to getting your ice time taken away and you do, then that should be a signal that right or wrong that the coaching staff is not happy with what you're doing. So I think it does work once in a while. There's no question. It sends the right message. If you do it over and over, it kind of loses its effectiveness. But I think it does resonate with everybody.
Outside of hockey, what do you really enjoy doing in your free time? Like, I know I saw on your Twitter some golf. Are you really into golf these days?
When the snow disappears, I'll start golfing a bit. I watch a bit of golf on TV. But during the winter, I play tennis. I love tennis. I play 4 or 5 times a week now, unless we're in lockdown. But I really enjoy it. I love the one-on-one battle. And, the one thing I miss in golf that tennis has is the deceptiveness. It doesn't really work in golf. You tell the ball I'm going to go to the right of the tree, and then you go left. The tree doesn't move anyway. But tennis, you have an opponent that, the mind games plays in, and I really enjoy that.
Are there any players in the league, could be Ottawa, could be anywhere, that you find resemble your game?
I don't know. What was my game? I mean, I think I was good at everything. I wasn't great at anything, and I wasn't bad at anything. I don't know if anything really stood out more than my work ethic, maybe. But I find some guys they have more skill. They skate better. Some shoot better. Some make good plays pretty much all the time out there. So there's a lot of good players out there that do stuff better than I did. I think you look at Stützle, like the way he skates and handles the puck in traffic, and as he gets more and more experience, he's going to get better and better, and hopefully have a long career in Ottawa. I don't know if anybody skates is bad enough so I can really compare anybody to me.
So I guess kind of like a follow-up to my previous question. As a captain, did you find it was your responsibility to kind of take some players aside and kind of maybe try and motivate them a little bit when they weren't playing their best hockey?
Yeah, for sure. For sure there was. It depends on situation. Sometimes it was coaches, sometimes it was me. When you're a player, I think you spend more time with the other players than the coaches do, so they don't have the same feel. I think, if you're not just me as a captain or, one of the assistant captains as well, you kind of feel somebody's off. Sometimes it doesn't have to do with hockey stuff. It could be something going on in your family life. But I think we always look after each other. And I think instead of just looking the other way and hoping it's going to turn around, you talk about it and have an honest discussion about it and try to help them out. And sometimes there's players that are very not looking forward, but they feel that it feels good to have somebody caring about it. And some players are more, I'll figure this out on my own, and so we're all different. But when you have a close team, you want to work together to achieve a goal. You need to support each other in good and bad times, and you also need to push each other.
I know that you and Erik Karlsson were really close. You didn't even expect to play with each other because when he was drafted, but I know you guys ended up really bonding and getting a good relationship. What was that like?
It was great. I mean, I was at the end of my career and he was starting his out. He came in as a young, lots of energy, enthusiasm, and I think it helped me in there's certain things, the travel and everything that comes with playing in the NHL that as you get older and you don't look forward to. But when you have some young guys around, that kind of brings up the energy, makes it fun. I think that's one of the best things about the NHL, that always being around young people and their enthusiasm and energy. So Eric and I got along very well from the beginning. He was very mature from the get-go, and he stayed at our place for half a season, and we were able to bond and still have a close friendship. So I think that extended my career with a year or two. So yeah, it was awesome. We had a lot of fun.
Do you find any big differences in international play versus playing in the NHL? Just the style of game and.
Yeah, it is. Especially when you play national teams. We we play differently. When I represent Sweden, it's much more puck possession, especially on the bigger ice, and than it would be in the NHL, where it's more a north-south kind of game and not as much east-west. So it changes, and I think that's the cool part about the NHL, that you have so many different nationalities. I think it's made NHL a lot better by bringing everybody together and mixing it all together, because I think the Canadian and American players have learned a lot from the European players, and vice versa. So I think when you mix the two, you get the best. So but there is a fair difference in when you play international, like the World Championships or Olympic, on the big ice surface especially.
You guys have any more questions?
Yeah, I was gonna say though, we don't want to keep you around too much longer. I don't know if you guys have anything else you want to ask, or.
I got one more. One thing you're kind of famous for is when Matt Sundin broke the stick, and then a few games later, you kind of did the pretend to throw it in the crowd. Did you kind of talk about doing that like the game before, or was it kind of an instinct thing once your stick broke?
It was totally instinct thing. It wasn't planned at all. I think Easton was, or stick manufacturers in general, were struggling with making the sticks. So we broke sticks in practice. I think I broke one or two in pregame warm up. The day after the game, and this, obviously he got suspended the game before we played them, and it was just spur of the moment. It was bad timing, and if you're a Toronto fan, I think we were up 7-0, so it didn't look too good, but it wasn't planned, and a little bit of frustration from my part too, breaking another stick.